Welcome to Rock Shop Talk. Our show talks best practices, fun anecdotes, and the latest cutting-edge technology in our field to kick your screen printing gears into hyperdrive. Today's episode features how to make a virtual impression. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be right back.
I want to welcome everybody back to Rock Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we talk all things screen printing. However, today we are talking about how to make a virtual impression with Impressions Expo show director, Mr. Josh Carruth. How's it going, Josh?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
It's a new year.
2021.
It is. New year. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Happy to be alive.
Happy to have you. I'm happy you're alive too.
Good. We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
So wanted to start out today, thank our amazing audience and partners out there for a great 2020. It was quite the ride of a year, but was fantastic to get through. Lots of celebrating to do. A lot of people through some tough times, but had a lot of folks make it out. Business is booming. And it's good to hear. And now we get to start with a clean slate. And we're able to officially launch season 2 of our Rock Shop Talk.
Yes, indeed.
Which is fantastic. Those of you, out there that are avidly listening, if you have some show ideas, want to chime in, want to be on a show, make sure that you email us at hello@rock.us. Again, that's hello@rock.us to be a part of this season. We've got a lot of fun episodes planned, some that aren't. Would love your feedback, content, and participation for sure.
Absolutely. And we'd like to definitely thank everyone who's listened so far last year and for making it one of the most listened to and most trusted podcasts in our industry. It's a huge honor, and we humbly thank you for that.
Absolutely. And tell others. Throw it out there.
Tell your friends.
Make it bigger.
Right.
Got to grow. Wildfire.
Right.
That's what we need. 2021. This year, we are rocking the boat. That is our mantra. Hashtag rock the boat. So it's going to be a really fun year. I've got a lot of cool things planned. One of them coming up actually in the next few weeks that Mr. Carruth here has planned, virtual ISS show in January.
Virtual impressions.
Virtual impressions.
Impressions
formerly known as ISS. Go on.
Yes, formerly known as ISS. Impressions Connect to be ultra official. Yeah, we're stoked about it.
It's exciting.
It is. It's a new thing, obviously for everybody. And I think there was the mad dash in the middle of last year for everybody to go digital and virtual and what a virtual trade show is. And, we really had this idea of what it should be. And it's not the same as what everybody else has done. Kind of intentionally, we kind of set back and really asked you guys what you would thought would be successful and tried to build a platform off that. And it was easy for the attendees to use. So we're stoked about it. It brings that connection piece when we're not able to have a live event. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. You can't replace the value of face-to-face. I mean, Ross, my friend,
I miss you, man. No, yeah, it's weird. We're a tight industry. So, not having we're missing the fun, but
right
now we're going to virtually create it.
It's part of making that connection with somebody. And personally, that's why I feel that those types of events and gatherings won't go away, because we're humans. It's human nature we're social beings. But all that said, there's a need to connect. And so we have a duty to our market to provide that opportunity for connection, which is what we've, everybody's tried to do. I mean, competitors to Impressions and alike, it's really been a unifying year in that everybody's kind of in the same boat, especially from the events industry. It's been a massive change. They just went away, dried up, gone. Mm-hmm. And everything from literally what we do or we go to the sporting events and live concerts and everything was just gone. So it was a massive, I'm going to use the word pivot that people had to make. And some have been great and some have not been so great. And I hope our team has put together something that's going to be valuable to your listeners, to the attendees of our events. And I think we're there. It's just going to be if everybody uses it and gets on board and rah, then I think it's going to be fantastic.
So what should people expect going to this? I mean, you're saying you're doing stuff a little bit differently. You guys have, from what I've seen, at least on the back end from our side, because we are going to be exhibiting at Impressions Connect, your platform's a little bit different. So can you kind of tell our listeners from a attendee standpoint, like, what's that experience going to be like? What's different between this and an in-person event? Because I know you guys have a lot of education planned. You've kind of kept that actually pretty similar, from what I understand, to what it would be like going to the actual show in terms of classroom style and, different speakers. I don't think it's different times, but, you've got the content basically up there. So can you give our listeners an idea of, what they're going to be able to do, how they're going to be able to interact, what the functionality of, the show floor, for lack of better terms, is going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is modeled on our events. That's what we tried to replicate, was a virtual marketplace, right? With the trade show experience of pick your own adventure, right? You can be as passive or as active as you want. So if I'm Josh, the shop owner or the printer, and I come in as an attendee, what I'm going to see is a dashboard console that's going to be the key to everything. I'm going to be able to go to a floor plan and view digital booths, squares with your logos in them, and click on them and see all about your company. I can see products you've uploaded and white papers I can download. I can request to get in touch with you. I can request to have a meeting with you. I can learn more about your brand, your story, whatever it is, and shop at my leisure. I want to discover things new. There's a universal search functionality that they'll be accustomed to. So if your listeners are attendees at our show, we specifically chose the platform we're using because it's what we use for our online floor plans for our live events. So there's an familiarity there. So the floor plan will work the same way. The exhibitor list will work the same way. We just took the profiles and juiced them up, and there's video content and a lot more interactive, engaging content you can pull out of those profiles. And then, like you said, kind of separately, but just like at the live show, there's a second side of the platform that's more community based. This is where like the discussion forums would be, and those conversations you have in the aisle walking down a show. This is where that might happen, where you see a topic that's, yeah, I'm interested in that. And you see that's I disagree. I think this, and you can have debate and lively conversations in those. They are moderated. But that's where the connection comes in. And there we'll have our exclusive Impress You content for those of that badge type, that there is an upcharge if you want access to all the exclusive content. But let's say you don't, you want to come for free. You're still going to be able to see all of the rich sponsor content that's available to everybody.
Nice.
So this is where you can kind of dig your nose in and explore and watch videos, and you can do it at your leisure. And you kind of alluded to it, Ross, is what's majorly different about this is that there is no time constraint. So we have 4 sessions becoming available or going live at 10 a.m. Well, they're all on demand. So you don't have to be somewhere at 10. It could be 4 days from now and you're on the treadmill and you want to catch that video or listen to it. It's at your leisure. When you have a mission, you're trying to go find something, you can go search that exhibitor list and search that booth profile and go, this is what I was looking for, and send a note. And you don't have to worry about somebody being there real time. It's real email time. It's going to the inboxes of the suppliers from the attendees. So that communication happens just like you're sitting at your desk when you would normally do it. That was something we thought was really important, was to to be aware of people's time constraints. I mean, we're all dealing with it, right? You've got pets and children and things going on in the house that aren't usually there, and you're trying to work, and you're not sitting at a computer all day. You're probably in your shop or you're working. So when are you going to do this? You need to be able to do it on your schedule. And at the same time, for you, the supplier, ROQ, you shouldn't have to sit there all day and hang over the edge of a keyboard and wait for somebody to come in and send you a note. So that's the passive nature of it. That lets you kind of get what you want out of it.
That's awesome. So impress you. So that section, going back to it, you guys will have, like you said, time slots or whatever these 4 videos are playing. Is the content going to be fairly in line with the content at a live event? So, for example, taking a class on DTG printing, and you guys, typically there'd be a speaker that possibly is a supplier, maybe not, maybe it's just a veteran in the industry that's coming in and talking. I mean, is some of that content going to be there? Is it, you guys have a good amount of people that have kind of pre-filmed and brought in some educational content?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have over 53 exclusive sessions planned now, and we've kind of narrowed it down to 5 major tracks: screen, embroidery, heat, digital, and business.
Nice.
And then like a college, because that's what Impress You is, right? That's our conference program, from 1,000 level to 4,000 level represented, so that if you're just getting into the business and you don't know what you don't know, there's things for you. And if you know what you're doing and there is a very specific circumstance you're looking to tackle, there should be something for you as well. And it's filterable that way. Like, I don't want to see all the intro stuff, or I only want to see embroidery stuff. The attendees will have the ability to kind of filter their view for what they want and be suggested things based on their profiles.
That's awesome, because I know that's such a key, of the show. I mean, especially for people getting into our industry, they don't necessarily even know what part they want to get into. Screen printing, embroidery. Do I do both? Do I do vinyl? Do I, et cetera, right? And so I know, and I used to teach on your circuit years ago, 4 years, I mean, I taught, I think, about 3 or 4 seminars a show for a while. And people would go there first. It's like, let's go listen. Let's understand what we, need for our business. And then they go out to the show floor. So it's kind of cool that you guys were able to really bring that into this digital forum.
I think we did the best we could, and I agree. One thing we did have to think though, was how are people going to take this, right? So when you taught that session, you were teaching for an hour and a half.
Right.
Well, you can't have videos that do that. So,
no one would sit there.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that would
you're
be
going to miss it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we had all of our speakers. If they couldn't do it, we did it for them. But to do your thing, but keep it into sub 10-minute intervals. It's got to, just to give people a breather. Let's be honest. I'm going to sit there in the class and I'm going to watch this. What is your average sticky span on a video, right? You're pushing it at 10 minutes, but this is highly targeted material by the watcher. It's not a random ad. They're vested in it. So we gave ourselves that bandwidth, and we broke up the sessions in that way so that you could get that same tutorial level, anything but hands-on experience, and it not be necessarily rushed. It's just in 3 parts. If you want to watch them all together, great, go ahead. If you don't, then we understand you only got 10 minutes right now and you're checking out videos. You'll come back and watch the other 2 when you get to that point and you need to.
Right. Well, I was probably only interesting for 10 minutes of my hour and a half long sessions back in the day anyway. So
very aware of you to know that.
No comment.
I'm totally kidding. I miss actually doing that. It was a lot of fun. I miss going to shows.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
this has been a we're year, and I can't even imagine, this is your life
world. Yeah.
So it's we're excited and can't wait for this vaccine to get out there and things to kind of calm down a little bit so we can all get back together in person and celebrate.
I do have a question about that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to, second the sentiment that we're very optimistic about 2021, and we made some changes to our schedule to try to right size it for the industry, because we had a good number of shows planned in 2020, but tried to stick to what we thought made the most sense in 2021, and we're really excited about it's got to be better than 2020. So we're stoked.
Right.
Absolutely.
My question is two-part. First part is I love how you all have formatted this show. For the first part is, how soon after the pandemic hit did that ideation come together in order for the architecture that you've laid out to be laid out? And then the second part of that is, granted, best case scenario, we're able to start commuting it again later this year. Do you foresee Impressions Connect going beyond the pandemic?
Those are good questions. So I would say by June, we knew we had to do something digital. Mm-hmm. So the exploratory process started there. And that was a combination of hours and weeks of researching platform providers, watching what our co-opetition, I guess I would say, was presenting ad hoc as they were coming up with it too, and what your feedback was, and that helped develop it. I would say the decision was made around the same time on the timing, due to the cancellation of the remaining events in 2020, that it became apparent that the ideal timing for Impressions Connect was over the original dates of Long Beach, because of the buying needs at that time and what's going on and how things had been going. So it was kind of a fluid thing moving towards it. And when we surveyed both our exhibitor customers and our attending customers, it was 70th, 80th percentile alignment on needs to be early Q1. If you're going to do it early Q1. Mm-hmm. And these were the things that would make it most successful, and that obviously is the backbone of the platform. Those features, the features attendees said they wanted, was what we tried to make prominent, and the features that the suppliers said they wanted in order for it to be successful. Those were the magic bullets that we had to put into it. Nice. So that was the reasoning. So it was a long process.
Sure.
Because it was a huge learning curve. And also setting ourselves up, to your next question, for if this is the way it's going to be, we need a sustainable solution. We don't want to change every year and have to relearn a new platform and try to explain that. And so let's compromise on what is the best for our customers' businesses, and make sure we get those aspects covered. And then it needs to be something we can live with, so that we can have the same thing should it go on. Mm-hmm. As of right now, we have some plans for some other digital products that I'm hoping that Connect can bring us to. That the Connect would kind of serve as more online directories post the show closes. They will stay live and be marketed to for the attendees as a resource. So what that means is that probably at least until the beginning of March, let's just call it that, right? Mm-hmm. The middle of February, somebody goes, man, what was that speaker's name? Or what was that video? They can get in, they can ask, they can send a message. Technically, they can also still do it to the exhibitors, and that exhibitor would just get an email like into their normal inbox and go,
that's okay. Cool. So you guys are kind of you're leaving a nice tail on it for people to have access to the information. That way, if they weren't ready within that week, or you couldn't even make it, or were busy, or
didn't know about it somehow, whatever it was, like they didn't somehow missed it, or whatever it might be. Yes, it just to become a resource, and to, again, it's about adding value back to our constituencies, and both sides of them. So that's kind of where that idea comes from. So without being able to say too much about those products, that it's planned to kind of give us a nice runway into that. And then I guess the ultimate answer to the question is if it's desired. If it's something that becomes, this was great. This was really helpful. This was a tool. Then we need to find a way to continue that value. Our job is to provide value. So if it is a home run grand slam, I can imagine focusing a lot more on it and going, okay, how do we make this better? And is this the right time? And does it need to be a hybrid situation? This initially started as a hybrid event where we were going to live broadcast from certain areas on our show floor to give, I'm going to nerd out here for a second, to give all of our audience who doesn't have the opportunity to come to a show that experience, right? So Long Beach, right? It's gives you chills. It's the Daytona 500 for the industry. Yeah. And there are our readers, our subscribers to our magazine all over the place who have not had the opportunity to come and like witness and see that. So when this was brainstormed and brainchild, it was, we need live feeds from our lounges, from our shop talk lounges where conversations are going on. We're going to go into booths or people who are doing the online connect. We're going to do a live broadcast from their booth and create this kind of hybrid to the best of our ability opportunity that the people who were going to come to Long Beach, and if it was full on, everybody's there, great. We still have a market. This connect has been the great equalizer in our eyes because it's the first time we're able to offer one product to our entire audience, subscriber and live attendee. Right. And now you're talking about big numbers of getting that information. And so if it's something that is successful and can grow over time, we absolutely, we'll see what happens there. But I think
like you may actually be able to use, even though this didn't work out that way because Long Beach didn't happen in January, it sounds like if Impressions Connect in January, serves well and does what it's supposed to do, then perhaps even in April when Long Beach is slated to happen, for those that aren't coming out to Long Beach, then you would have then the platform to be able to do what you're talking about, live stream and do booth tours and have live educational content with the shop talks and the different things. Because I know so many people in the industry that, have been in for a while and haven't had the chance to go to Long Beach. And I always, I do one of these where I slap my forehead. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to go. Like you have to experience this because it's just so much different than, the other localized trade shows. And that's really cool to give people the opportunity to do that who may not, want to go or be willing to travel or whatever the case may be, just can't go. Right. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and there's some other platform implications that would happen in the hybrid event, but it ties into the other stuff I was teasing you about. The opportunity is there if it's wanted, and I'm thinking even in like 2022 and beyond, if it becomes part of like Long Beach experiences, there's a digital side to everything. Like it's something that we as a company, we as a brand, our company has embraced it, and we are now as a brand too, because it hasn't been so prevalent. But we've all been forced to adopt these practices now, the digital, the way of life that now might actually provide us the opportunity for something like that to stick. Where in the past, our folks weren't so into it. And maybe now they've seen value and go, well, maybe it is kind of easier to do that. And then I do need to
because we all wanted to fly out and hang out and see each other, and now we have no choice. So
well, exactly. There's no choice, but there's also still like the difference in these two fabrics on these two T-shirts. You're not going to get that on digital. You got to be there. You got to have that personal connection. But there's still some business that can be done. So it doesn't mean throw the whole thing out, because there are still some value to somebody out there, to somebody's business. They would find out something they didn't know. They would pick up some piece of information, find a new product, do something that has an impact on their life. So you don't just want to ignore the fact that if it can be done, we should do it.
Absolutely.
True
We're going
that.
to take this moment to have a quick commercial break. And when that is over, we will come back with Mr. Josh and talk more Impressions Connect and trade shows in general. We'll be right back.
Behold the foundation of screen printing automation. The ROQ Reg presents the fastest and most accurate registration system in the industry. Get ready to press onward with the cutting edge of automated precision. Please visit roq.us or call 187-ROCKET now. That's 877-674-8669.
Want to welcome everybody back to Rock Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we talk all things screen printing. Today we are talking about virtual impressions with Impressions Expo show director, Mr. Josh Carruth. Also joining us is our creative producer, Merrill Caps, and I am Ross Hunter. So let's dive back in, Mr. Caps.
Yes, indeed. I got just a quick final thought, or not my thought, but I'm curious about on the last topic is how much of the in-person experience would you quantify/qualify for the Impressions Connect? Like, is there kind of a ratio you're thinking like 60-40 or something like that? I guess the question is how much of that in-person experience is going to feel familiar to people at Connect versus that traditional thing. And also after that, we need to totally nerd out and reminisce about last year, Impressions Long Beach, because that was epic.
Yeah, some stuff happened.
Yeah.
So if I had to put a number on it, I guess I would put it like this. If any of our attendees have done anything online leading up to our live shows, it's 100% the same thing. The floor plan is the same. The profiles, the way all that stuff works is technically the same. There just might not have been cause to creep into certain corners like there are now because there was nothing there. Right. Now it's a nice, pretty picture. I've struggled to quantify how to replace the value of the face-to-face. Like I said, you just can't replace the value of face-to-face. So I think it's apples and oranges when we're talking about it, but
they're both fruit.
They're both fruit. And they can get you the same vitamins, right? Like you're going to go look for new products or services or supplier, you can do that. You want to go learn something, you can do that. You want to talk with like-minded people and you're not afraid to start a discussion on the discussion forums, you can do that. So that to me are the key aspects of being able to do that. It kind of, like I said, lets you pick your own adventure.
That's awesome.
There
and thank you, Mike Brady, Ross Hunter.
Oh no, that was totally my big fat Greek wedding.
Oh, I know. Apples and oranges, I get it. But then
but they're both fruit. There you go.
But he was just the second version of Mike Brady, just the dad Greek version offering that.
Fair enough.
Either way. With Windex.
Now we kind of look like the Brady Bunch the way we look at each other on this call. Anyway, Impressions Long Beach. What was your favorite? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? What would you take away from that, from your perspective?
Real talk?
Yeah.
My biggest thing from Long Beach is I felt terrible about a mishap that happened with a sponsor at Ruckus. We totally dropped the ball on our side on making sure their expectations were explained and they didn't know where to go. And in the midst of one of the coolest things I have ever seen at a trade show, it is definitely top 3. And we built like skate ramps for Tony Hawk. I've had a really fun trade show career. I was bummed that we let them down. That one stuck with me. That one got to me because they're good. They're good people, and we made everything good. We made it right as much as we could.
Sure.
But that's how like epic I think the show was. That I was just like, man, I was so bummed that they couldn't like be jiving
with it
with the group, with the thousands of people that were outside. But
it's so hard when you're planning, right? Because I had a couple of those in our booth, and I planned our booth, and it kind of stinks because there's so much coolness going on around you, where you're just like, wow. I mean, we did stuff in our booth that we've never done before, right? I mean, I'm sure it's been done, but we had a really exciting thing going on, and I had a couple of those moments too, where I definitely like let some folks down, and it stings a lot harder when you're on that back end of planning, because it's such an undertaking. I mean, these shows, even the booths within the shows, I mean, those of you out there that have ever planned a trade show booth before, even in the smallest booth size, there's so much thought that has to go into the way it looks, the way it's presented. How are you marketing yourself? What products are there? What team members are there? What's your goal? What are you even trying to do? And then it's so easy to miss details that, can affect other folks. So I feel you on that one, Josh, for sure.
It was such an exciting show because, we rebranded, hence the formerly ISS. And so that was exciting to bring our magazine and our show teams kind of together under that Impressions moniker. So we had all the new signage. The show was as big as it's ever been. Technically, it was bigger than it's ever been on the recorded history that we have for Long Beach, because I looked back into like 1997 or 2003 or something, and we couldn't find anything near the scale. And the buyers came out, or the all you decorators came out. We're in the trade show guy. We call them the buyers and the sellers. So the attendees showed, the exhibitors were jazzed, that electricity was in the air. We had a joint kind of coming out party for everything, which is the first time Impressions had done that in many, many years, since the ballroom party days. So it was just a good vibe to have all the veterans kind of walking around like, yeah, this is it's good when you guys start calling it your show. That's my goal, is so that you're like, no, this is my show. When the two people meeting take the ownership and watching that happen, that's pretty cool. It's why I do what I do.
That's awesome.
Very
that was
cool.
Fun. Definitely will go down in the history books for sure.
Oh man, so fun.
I mean,
so much spectacle.
For Sublime to play in Long Beach outside on a square and have, members of the band like, my car broke down right there. Like, it was just a very special thing. Yeah.
Everybody,
cool.
Mark McGrath, Gallo.
Super cool guy, by the way.
Oh my gosh. They all were. Yeah. They were blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And
super
then
loud voice in the microphone. Got in trouble for that one.
That was loud. It could have been turned down a little bit. It was booming, but definitely had that radio voice going on.
Indeed.
Yeah.
He's done that a few times.
Yeah. We didn't prepare for a professional to walk in and take the mic. And I've got like people down below in the booth like, that's so loud, cut it off. It was good. It was funny.
But at the same time, shame on us or anybody else who does actually turn that down, because what are we doing? We have to keep that up.
It got the word out.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have music and rock stars and turn them down.
Oh man, I will never forget that line. Gone from the charts, but not from your hearts.
Awesome. So to kind of shift gears, I mean, moving back into traditional shows, you kind of talked about what the goal is with, Impressions Connect and moving forward into the future. But, did traditional shows change moving, past this pandemic? So pandemic gone, let's say we're in 2022 now. Is it going back to kind of the status quo, what we're used to, or is this pandemic kind of given food for thought to, just the concept of trade shows in general and where they're at, how many they're going to be, how big those are, how the marketing works for them? Because I know, not just pandemics hurt these things, right? I mean, we've had weather events, I know in Florida a couple times, right? And with your show and with other shows that we've done in the past. I mean, there's just stuff comes up, right? I mean, we can't control natural disasters, pandemics, I mean, all this kind of stuff. And obviously people look forward to these things. I mean, we do, we love them. It's our favorite times of the month when we get to, head out on a plane or now a tour bus. and park in front of the trade show, and it's just fun. We love seeing our partners, both customer partners and vendor partners like you guys, and our bank, and even our competitors, right? I mean, we all kind of get together, and it's a small tight knit community. How do you see that looking, just kind of as future forward?
So we're actually exploring that now. We've, as Emerald, have staged now 2 live events post initial pandemic and lockdown, and we've learned a ton. So I think the first thing we need to address here is health and safety, right? So trade shows and live events are going to mirror the health and safety precautions until those, if you want to call it, normalize, if they go back to status quo, or if there's something new moving forward. Whatever those are will be reflected in the shows. And so case in point, we staged a show called IGES in Pigeon Forge late in Q4 of last year. And Surf Expo in Florida is staging at the time of this filming, in the middle of it. And things are going okay. The show looks different. The booths are wider. There's no carpet. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. There's signage. There's protocols. Everybody has to wear a mask. It's a private party, mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter. Even though Florida is technically not a state that has a lot of restrictions at the moment, this is still an event. So we are taking all the precautions possible to keep things safe. So if we can have an event safely, and there is a need for that event, like our customers need it, there's a business need, then we have a duty to produce that event, even if it's much, much smaller. That mm-hmm. It's not about the profit. At that point, it's about, you have to stay with your industry and stay relevant and keep providing. So that's our main goal when it comes to the immediate future. Now, let's theoretically imagine that things get better. Q2, kind of what they're saying, vaccination distribution gets out there. Things start to kind of settle down safely. I think in the immediate future, we have changed the number of shows that we have, because we had 5 shows a year. And we quite honestly looked at it and again asked everybody that certain shows, like you mentioned it, Ross, Orlando hasn't staged once in the last 4 years, because of 2 hurricanes and a global pandemic. It didn't make the most sense. So we pulled it off the schedule next year. Same thing with our Gulf Coast show. We were launching a show in Baton Rouge this year. Mm-hmm. 2021 isn't the appropriate time to launch that show. Sorry. It's just not. We're blessed with good senior leadership that listens to logic when we say this, because basically just went and said, hey, we're going to take 2 shows off the schedule because it's the right thing to do. And that's what makes the most sense for our market. And let's focus on the live events that have the richest histories and proven track records of success, which is Long Beach, which originally was supposed to be in January, which we have postponed to April. Obviously, keeping an eye on that one, given what's going on and where California is. But if this year has taught us anything, it's that you think you know something, and 14 days later, you don't.
Right.
So we're going to continue to watch that one. That's the first one we have planned next year. We're in contact with the facility about the requirements that they would be imposing from a facility standpoint, on top of like the CDC guidelines we would bring in, but about, okay, booths have to be so far apart. And there's just a lot of detail that goes into that, the planning side. Right. And Atlantic City, that was supposed to be in March, we've pushed back to June. So again, moving that one kind of back out of a danger zone, because there is confidence that it will happen, but confidence that there was going to happen in January and March is exponentially lower than the confidence of even April and their June.
Right.
And our Fort Worth show stayed stationary. Matter of fact, it's the same planned dates we've had on the books for a couple of years, because it happens later in the year, in that September, October timeframe. So we're confident again in that one right now. Of course, we were all confident in March that this was going to be over in 8 weeks or whatever it was. So we'll see what the year brings us. It's been an exciting start so far. So we'll, keep watching that. But moving on to the future, to answer your question, like if we get back to normal, what happens to trade shows? I think there's always going to be a remnants. You're going to see more hand sanitizer stations. You're going to see more cognizant or people aware of their surroundings and what they're doing. I mean, personally, do I think the handshake's dead? No. We'll just see, what happens, but we're not going to exactly that is like our procedure for the shows right now is there's a no contact policy.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah. Air fist bumps, air high fives. Yeah. Nice to meet you. Handshakes is kind of how it worked at the show. I was able to actually go to that show in IGES in Pigeon Forge, and it was a lot of nerves going into it. Everybody was worried, and it turned out to be a fantastic event because that's how valuable live events are. The people who were there wanted to be there. They had a reason to be there. It was slower, yeah, but the quality scale was off the charts.
Right, because you get people that are all there for purpose. It's not there because Long Beach is happening or whatever, and I want to go walk around and drink some beers and,
Tito Ortiz might be in the booth. Who knows?
True that.
He was awesome.
Yes, you're exactly right. I know, I'm just teasing you, but you're exactly awesome. Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
Did that answer your question about where I see trade shows?
No,
I think it's going to be weird for a while. We're going to have some rules. We're going to have some rules in play until it's absolutely safe.
Right.
No, for sure.
And when we're together in person, like it's easy to connect with others far more easily than it is elsewhere. But in the world we're in, and likely we will be in this position for quite some time in the foreseeable future, what are some recommended ways that you suggest for people to make a virtual impression and turning that digital experience into something long-lasting and more meaningful than a typical, hey, chat, whatever kind of thing that you would see in a normal kind of virtual situation?
That's a really good question. I wish you guys would have prepped me on this. This is good. No, but in all seriousness, I think what I've noticed is from this digital fatigue that's going around is the onus on just content alone. Like, come here, get something special. You can go anywhere, anytime, get something special. So I would urge people to make the personal connections. Like, it's going to sound stupid, but even if it was like a virtual happy hour and you're not talking shop, you're getting to know your customers or do whatever, you're staying relevant, you're staying front of mind, and you're making a personal connection with them. That what comes so naturally, as you explained, when we're together, it happens organically. So it's a little bit of a task to try to recreate that. But to me, that's the most meaningful, I guess is the right way to say it, that you would know them and you don't feel so alone if you are, and you're kind of getting a little bit of that camaraderie. I think that is the way to go. But then there's like the business that comes into it, and you got to have ROI, and you have to have some reason to be there. So everybody has to think about that when they're doing it too. But think about how you operate as a person in your individual life and your personal life. What do you ignore, and what do you go, oh, that's cool. Like that's kind of what we tried to do, and take our own experiences and ask other people what would be helpful.
I like that a lot. So we should probably set up a rocktail party then during this Impressions Connect.
That'd be good. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you advertise it in that, and you get people to sign up, and you can do it whenever you need. Do three of them.
Actually, we could put that in our booth, like do an advertisement in our booth. And I could film an instructional video on how to beer bong properly, and we could put that in Impress You section of because that's you do a show special for 50 lucky people, and you send out the cocktail kits, and you all make your drinks together and have like a VIP rocktail party. Ooh.
I can see Ross's.
You're hired, Josh.
Like the green drink mix comes, and you put it in, and everybody shakes it, and you have like
we make green drinks. This isn't in March, but we could have March and January.
Your colors are green every day.
We can do this all the time.
True. That is true. Your mic cover is green.
Mine is, yeah.
Yeah.
I work with ROQ US. Their colors are green. So anyway, how about a commercial break?
All right, we will take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will wrap up with Josh Carruth at Impressions Expo and go from there. We'll be right back.
You know where you're going, and you need a vessel with a deep understanding of you and your objectives embedded into its very design. An automatic screen printing press that's built for you, your audience, your workflow, your goals. The ROQ Auto is the ideal press to match how unstoppable you are. For these and other expert solutions to help you press onward, please visit rock.us or call 187-ROCKET now. That's 877-674-8669.
I want to welcome everybody back to Rock Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we talk all things screen printing. Today, we are talking about virtual impressions with Impressions Expo Director Josh Carruth. What's up, Josh?
Howdy.
Well, that was kind of lame, but okay, I'll deal with it. Howdy. I mean, where's the pizzazz? What's up? You know.
Well, we've already said hi like 3 times.
I know,
we went to a commercial. We didn't go anywhere.
Fast forwarded and just like they tuned out the first 3 quarters of our podcast. They're like, let me get to like the end part, and they're just now coming back. And you're like, howdy. I don't know. It's okay. I can deal with it.
Run it back.
No, we'll move forward. I think this is funny. Cool. So, Merrill, kick us off.
Okay. Tips people can get from you, sir, for prepping for a digital show.
Ooh, that is a good one. This is so cliche, but think outside the box. All right. So a good example of this, talking with a customer today, and they're like, okay, we're going to put our product up, but they wanted to do like a meeting and, didn't know how to advertise it. So it's about getting creative with the tools you have in your quiver, right? So you have places to put images, make a flyer and embed the Zoom link, invite registration link. There you go. And then now you have a way from your booth to get people to sign right up for it, and they're going to get an email to go to that event. So I think my point in that is, don't think like you're going to be sitting at a show and talking to people and handing out things. When you're doing something digital, you got to make something attractive and easily digestible and super worth the 30 seconds they're going to give you when they look at it. If you try to go too deep into that, just like page 2 of Google, you're just not going to get it. So I think what I've found myself on our calls, helping people fill out their booths is, well, why can't you just do what you just said, but do it right here? Just because it's called something doesn't mean you can't use it for what it's worth. So understand what you're dealing with. Know it. If it's an HTML box, know that gives you the ability to put an image or a link out. It's not just a text description. What can you do with that? What would you do with on your website? Do you want to have them download a white paper? Then get a form put in there and come out of the system into a landing page where you can track whatever you need. So it's very circumstantial, but I think the biggest piece of advice is to throw out everything you know about prepping for a live event and think about, okay, people are going to be looking at the screen. They're going to see this. What would I click on, and what would get me? Or does this have the same functionality as something else that it's called? Just getting the information there is the big thing. No one's going to look at the header of the category that you're in. If it says product images, they're going to see a picture and go, that looks cool. Click.
Yep.
What's that? So
can we have live music in our digital booth? Does your platform have the ability so when someone goes to our booth, the page will just play music?
Oh, no, not like that. Not in the system.
That'd be cool.
You could be throwing a rave for all we care, and when they have the link in your booth so that people had to come there to click on the invite to go.
Okay.
Try to get some flexibility.
From a customer partner standpoint, so people coming into the digital experience? Do you have tips for them? Like, okay, I get to the homepage, where should I start? And then when I get to these booths, what should I be looking for? What, I know everyone's going to do their booth in their own way, like you're suggesting, and making, content that people want to click. But for the users to really get the most out of it, what's kind of your suggestion at navigating through everything? Where do people start?
That I would liken to the live experience, because it's very subjective. People shop differently. So some people come and they are on a mission. They want to go in and see the 5 booths they're there to see, and they want to leave. Then go do that. You can come in, go right to the exhibitor list, find the 5 people, click on the email to send them a note or download whatever they have, and do whatever you want. If you're one of those people like we talked about earlier that let me check out some sessions and let me kind of get warmed up, or if they're new to the industry, then I would suggest following the links to the session schedule and checking out those videos, getting a grasp on it. And then with some frame of reference, go into the exhibitor list or the product searches and search by keyword. If you don't know what you're looking for, when in doubt, just type it in. I'm looking for blank apparel. Anything related to blank apparel will show up if it's that wide. Or if you know specifically you're looking for XYZ brand, then you can find them and go to them. If you're familiar with the industry and you're kind of just cruising and you want to check things out, go to the floor plan. Logos are going to start popping up and you're going to go, oh, I know them. I want to check them out, see what's going on there. And you can navigate that way. As a personal preference, that's what I would do, because I'm very visual and I'm a trade show person. My beeline would be to the floor plan. And I would check out everybody I know and see what I wanted to see. And if I didn't find it, I'd dive deeper into the searches and then, go watch videos.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. What's our booth number?
Our booth number is 2619.
26. I like how we still have booth numbers. I mean, they kept it so legit, right? It's like
it's that feeling. It's the nostalgia feeling. We were going to make them all abbreviations of your name, but it was like, yeah, you know what? Just leave numbers, because I think
it's cool.
So yeah, kind of ties it back in.
For all our listeners, come visit booth 2619 at Impressions Connect, which opens live the 25th, correct?
Correct. Now,
but why don't you give some background?
Yeah.
No. Let's go back to the beginning, because people have to register. They've got to get a badge, I believe. It's a digital badge of sorts. Like, can you go through how people sign up and get in?
Yeah. So you're gonna register for the event. Like right now, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna register. You're gonna get a confirmation that you registered, but you don't need to do anything yet.
And wait, this is impressionsconnect.com?
Yes.
Okay, so impressionsconnect.com, they can go register now. So anyone that's listening that hasn't registered, go to impressionsconnect.com, click register. It'll take you through the general registration process, correct?
It's exact same process for the live show. It's the exact same.
Nice.
Yeah. They're going to get a confirmation email saying, cool, you registered. And then it's going to be like, okay, what do I do now? Right? Okay, virtual shows in 2 weeks. Well, the week prior to the show opening, the week of the 18th, we are going to be sending messages to all the registrants saying, all right, now's the time to go in and finish your profile, upload your photos, fill out your company information, all the details that you would want, to be associated with you and your business in this environment. And during that time, we're going to call it matchmaking, right? This is when the attendees have the ability to kind of poke around a little bit, check out the booths. They're live. If they send you an email, it's going to come to you. So it's just a chance to kind of get familiar with it. The week of the 25th, why we're calling it the show, is because that's when we're ungraying the appointment calendar for everybody so that attendees can plan their week out. So I want to, I need an appointment this day, and this day. And they can see that appointment calendar in the exhibiting booths and know what's available. And the content becomes available. And I use that word specifically because it's not live. Everything is pre-recorded and on demand. Right. So we will roll out our exclusive sessions starting on the 25th, every 2 hours for the entire week. And then the sponsored content, like your content, it would go live on the 25th and be available through the duration. So that is the week of the connection, I guess you would say, is when the most shopping would probably happen and people can kind of come in. But we don't know. So we built it this way intentionally with that long tail that we talked about earlier, so that we'd leave it open as a directory resource, so that if somebody couldn't make an appointment that week, they were busy, they had an emergency, they couldn't find it, it's still going to be available to everybody who registered, and everybody who paid for the conference will have at least until the beginning of March to go back and reference that and reconnect with what they missed. They can send the exhibitors a note. They can send the speakers a note. The discussion forums will still be live. The community side will still be there.
Are you guys cutting off registration, or are you going to leave registration kind of open through this whole period too? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that way new people have a chance to kind of experience it. But we didn't want to monopolize everybody's time, which is why we're really saying the show is the week of the 25th. If there's any active stuff that you're planning on doing, that's kind of the week to do it. And then everybody can kind of be passive and let it be a tool for both sides. The following weeks after that, then you can go back to, not freaking out or worrying about it.
Okay, cool. So just to reiterate to our listeners, impressionsconnect.com, go there, register now, and everything kind of starts kicking off. It sounds like the week of the 18th and goes live the week of the 20 or on the 25th.
On the 25th, that's right.
Outside of Impressions Connect, how do people find you guys? So what are your other websites? What are your Facebook, Instagram handles, etc.?
Yeah, Impressions Group for all social media, Impressions_group would find us. We've merged our magazine and our shows. I've kind of briefly talked about that, but impressionsmagazine.com and impressionsexpo.com. Impressionsmagazine.com is, that's the publications website that is chock full of useful news and things we have been doing even throughout the pandemic and trying to just spread the word on everything. It's a great resource. And then the Expo's, Impressions Expo, you can get all the information, the most up-to-date information about our live events we have scheduled for 2021.
That's awesome. And then that'll carry people over to either place too. So if they end up on Impressions Expo, they can find Impressions Connect, they can find Impressions Magazine. That's kind
Absolutely. You can subscribe to the magazine from the Expo's website.
That's very cool.
That's very cool.
Any last minute thoughts for our listeners out there, Josh?
No, I'm stoked. Come to the show. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Because in my letter every month in Impressions Magazine, I end it with no, for real, email me, call me. This is my phone number. And people do. And a lot of great ideas have come from it. And getting called out on stuff too. There's been our share of criticisms as well. And it's great. So I just encourage people to reach out and let us know how we can help you help your business.
That's awesome, man. Well, Merrill.
Oh, no, thank you.
No, just a deep breath in. Okay.
I was just thinking of, just the theme of impressions and people responding with their impression and keeping that flow going. I think the name is really brilliant for so many reasons, and I'm a big fan.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Josh, wanted to thank you so much for joining us today. Merrill, as always, thank you for being here and putting this together. And a big shout out to everyone listening. We're here to wish you an amazing 2021, full of success and health and everything.
And happiness.
Absolutely. So on that note, let's rock the boat, continue to press onward, and we'll see everyone again in a couple weeks.
Until next time.
Take care, everybody.
Tremendous thanks to Josh Carruth for joining us today. As always, thank you for spending time with us this week. Tune in at your convenience wherever you listen to your podcast by searching Rock Shop Talk. Our next episode will feature going green by making the rock transition. If you'd like to request to be on the show, please visit rock.us/rockshoptalk. If you found today's episode helpful, please recommend it to a friend who you think may find it helpful as well. Please like, share, and subscribe on social media. Until next time, rockers, press onward.